Hello everyone, it's Harry back from Spurs TV again with a match reaction video. Man United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Another loss, but let's get into it. First, let's talk about the lineup because at least recently the lineup's been quite interesting, so at least we can talk about it a bit. Vicario was in goal. As you guys might know, I think Kinski's gone out, so Vicario in goal. Back three, Paulinho, Romero and Van de Ven. Now Van de Ven and Romero returned, especially Van de Ven returned to lineup. Van de Ven was injured for the last few games, so it was nice to see him back. And the midfield was Gallagher, who's carried on playing since he's come into the club with Sarr. So it was Sarr's first start for quite a while. Of course, he had his injury as well when he went to AFCON, so it was quite interesting to see him starting over Basuma, I thought. But maybe in an away game, there was maybe reasons to it. And Gray was a right wing back. Maybe this partly out of like necessity because obviously Porro is injured and we don't have a right-sided player with Spence being injured as well. On the left, Udogie was there. Again, out of limited options. Davies is out, of course, injured as well. And Sousa, who did come on later in the game, was on the bench. But he's only 19 years old and I'm not expecting him to come in and just suddenly to perform from us. And of course, the front line, which is probably the most consistent thing I think I've seen the past few months, was Odobert on the right. He's kind of earned his place. Solanke in the middle, who since coming back from injury is definitely been our best option up front because Moani does not want to be here, and Moani has only scored goals in the Champions League. It's quite interesting fact. And Xavi, who the past 2-3 games, and he probably was our best player today against United, has really kind of started to do well, in the Premier League. And it's just a shame that we're where we are, where we're in such a dire place that I don't think it'll be noticed. And also Xavi he can only do so much just by himself. So the game started anyways, and we were starting okay. We tried to create a few chances in the beginning, but obviously there was one moment we're gonna have to talk about straight away because I'm not gonna barrel around the bush. Romero does a stupid tackle. He wins the ball, sort of, and then he leaves his foot with his studs onto the United player. Straight red card. Was I surprised it didn't go to VAR? I mean, VAR check it anyway, but it was a really stupid challenge. And we're going on to 10 men quite early in the game. I mean, it was the first half. And hopefully, at least I was praying that we're going to go into half-time 0-0. But unfortunately, Mbeumo scored, and most people would have had Mbeumo down to score because he loves scoring against us. And of course, obviously, when Romero went off, Dragusin came on for Odobert. I forgot to mention that. And I think Odobert just wasn't in the game, and I think that was kind of a normal, as he's the swap I would have done, even though I don't have a coaching badge or anything like that. So here we are. We're 1-0 down at half-time. Frank, what could he have done? I mean, you look at our bench. There wasn't much on there. I think his game plan was, and this is just based on what I saw, was to defend in the 3-4-3 and to attack in a 4-3-3 of some variation. Because I did notice that Gray would tuck in a lot when we had the ball, and Udogie would be the one to go forward. So we were clearly kind of playing like a really interesting sort of back four when we had the ball, with Udogie and Gray as the fullbacks, and Paulinho would just drop into the midfield when we had the ball, or I guess push forward into midfield. And I thought that was quite interesting. And to be honest, until the goal and until the red card, we were kind of in the game. I know United were at home and obviously riding the Carrick wave right now, but I did think we had some sort of chance to get something from the game. I did actually predict us to draw 2-2. But yeah, once Mbeumo scored, it was kind of like an uphill battle. And obviously the second half started and we were sort of in a game. To be fair, I think Frank kind of did the right thing in the sense that try and keep us at 1-0 and then try and get a goal. But it got to a point where it was still 1-0 and he needed to take a gamble. Now Sousa came on for Udogie, who again got injured. And to be fair to Sousa, I'm not going to re-judge him on this. He's 19 years old, coming from Brazil. Chuck him right into the deep end, really, with this game. Where we have 10 men and we just have no other options. It was interesting he brought him onto the Byfield. Byfield, I think, is more of a right-sided player. And I thought Suze actually did okay. I don't know much about him, and this is his first 20, 30 minutes, but I thought he did all right. He looked like he had some pace, but could a Real play like that during the relegation battle? Because this is reality, because obviously, as of filming this, West Ham won away to Burnley 2-0, and they are only 6 points behind us. Bear in mind, Leeds beat Forest yesterday, and here we are. Leeds got the same points as us, and our goal difference is now 0. So, and I spent after our game, I spent a bit of time to look through the next few fixtures to also look through the goal difference, because obviously we were positive and now we're 0, and I think there's only goal difference of 3 or 4 between us and the team below us. Obviously Palace go to Brighton tomorrow. I guess we're gonna have to support Brighton. What choice do we have right now? But in terms of the game, we just try and stay in it as much as possible. We did have some half chances. Xavi on the break, like I mentioned again, he was probably our best player again. And like I said, it's a shame that he's in the situation he is, in the sense that I'd rather we would try and develop players like him in a comfortable situation. But right now, I know a lot of people don't believe me, but me and TJ have been very vocal about this. We are in a relegation battle. It might not hit people till the end of the month or early March, because it's looking bad. It's looking really bad. So for me, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. And obviously they've got the second goal. But by that point, the goal was coming. I think Vicario made 3 or 4 saves. And obviously we ended the game with a whimper. I mean, once the second goal went in, it was over. But in long-term reflection, I've been saying this for a long time, since the West Ham loss. That's when we should have got rid of Frank, because at least we had the January window to kind of bring in some players. Because the last time Spurs were in a position like this, Redknapp came in, which was back in 2008. And we signed Defoe back, Keane back, Chimbonda, who ended up being sold the summer after. And because we were lacking goals. And we're in the same situation now where we are lacking goals. I mean, Solanke, to be fair to him, is getting them, but it's just one player. And to be fair, I have seen some improvement with the team. There is some improvement. But when your captain gets sent off within the first 30 minutes of the game, away to Old Trafford, Carrick's the new manager. I think he might stay permanently. They're riding the momentum. They won 3 games in a row. This will be the 4th one now, and the guy might end up cutting his hair. But I don't know what more Frank can do. So my theory, my thinking is right now is I think you need to get rid of Frank, not because he's exactly the problem. I actually think that the problem is I think I don't know how to say this. In theory, Frank should work, and this is what I've been saying for a long time. He should work, but we're in a situation whereby him implementing ideas, him trying to build something, is not feasible. Not at this point. We need someone to come in short term, and I think Pochettino is going to come back in the summer. So if it was me, I would get rid of Frank and bring someone else, just to give. We need a bounce of some sort, and unfortunately, right now, I think a new manager is the only bounce I can think of us pushing him. But Romero really, really messed us up. He really messed us up, because 10 men away to Old Trafford, and it's starting to the old Trafford under Carrick, if I'm being honest, from what I've seen so far. And I was worried about this game because of obviously Carrick's arrival and how well they've been doing since he's come. And it seems like he's kind of just fitted in quite easily. But we don't have an option like that, because obviously Mason's done it before, not with very good results. I've suggested Redknapp with another younger coach, but everyone also said Redknapp's 80 years old. But we need someone to come in because right now obviously the window's closed, so whoever comes in has to work with the players we've got left, basically. Who can come in? I don't know. Can you guys give me some options below? Because I think we need someone short term at this point. Or maybe a couple of people. Like I said, maybe Sherwood should come back with Redknapp or something. But we just need a bounce, and we need just some fresh ideas, and we need some positivity, really. Like I say, it's not, for me with Frank, it's not personal. It's I think he's awful or something, but the players aren't clearly with him. The club is falling fast, And unfortunately, he's going to have to be the guy to go. And like I said, it's nothing personal. I actually wanted Frank, but it's just not worked out. So, and come on, you Spurs, and let's hope we can stay up.